Sisters who watch. Sisters who watch. Sisters who watch.
The Bear.
Hi, family. Hey, y'all. Hey.
Hi.
Welcome to Sisters Who Watch.
Yes. I'm Shelby.
And I'm Laura. And we're sisters who watch everything. TV, movies, sports, concerts, and even darkly comedic cooking shows. We love to watch, and we love talking about it even more. Today we're watching
The Bear. Season 2. Woo!
Woo!
Big
okay,
day.
Shelby.
Let's get aprons into on. We're ready to go. You look like you're Sydney.
Yes, I do.
Fit right in. Throw in the kitchen.
Yes, chef. Yes, chef. Okay, let's get into the background of The Bear.
Yes.
Okay, tell me, this is season 2. We both watched season 1 and really enjoyed it.
Yes. So season 1 came out last year. It's an FX original on Hulu, and it's an in-depth look at the restaurant industry. And I'd say like a very different kind of look, right? Most shows on the industry are on like Food Network, and it's very like poppy, positive, or it's Top Chef, where it's a competition show. And
or like Chef's Table, where it's, you know, these kind of documentary style, you know, depictions.
You rarely see a fictional scripted look at the restaurant industry.
Right.
And this one is very unique because it's intense, chaotic. Like you feel like you're in the kitchen the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
And the way that they're able to create such like an intense pace and that nervous energy, you're like, oh my gosh, is this what it's like to work in a kitchen? It's crazy.
Right. You're really transported to the kitchen in the back of a restaurant and the crazy energy that you always hear about.
Exactly. And the show is created by this guy named Christopher Storer, who actually has like family in the restaurant business and was inspired by the actual like Mr. Beef restaurant in Chicago. So you can tell, you can tell when you watch that there's a lot of authenticity, right? Like, I think that's what also makes it different. It feels like there are people who know what it's like to work in a restaurant or own a business, writing the show, producing the show.
Oh, yeah.
There's even an actual chef who's in the show. He plays Neil Pack. Like he is a chef in real life. And you can sense throughout the entire show that people who know what it means to be in the restaurant business.
Oh, yeah.
Hands all over it.
And he's blowing up. He's in a bunch of commercials. I see him all the time.
So funny.
Real life chef. Super funny. Good for him.
Love to see it. Love to see it. It's not your typical cooking show. That's for sure.
No, not at all. But it is funny, but it is intense and dramatic.
It's a dramedy.
Yes.
Definitely a dramedy.
Definitely a dramedy. And as we've talked about in our first episode, if you listen to that, our best of movies and TV of last year, we both had The Bear in our top TV shows because it's a unique story that we haven't really seen. It's a diverse cast with a lot of up and coming stars. So we love that. So we're just expecting to see more really great acting, background on the characters, because it's a great ensemble cast. And season 1, it ends with them shutting down the original Beef, the restaurant that Carmy inherited from his brother. So we're curious what's happening in season 2. What's happening with the restaurant?
Yes, exactly. They leave us on a bit of a cliffhanger. Like you, high expectations because season 1 was wonderful. And it was critically acclaimed, right? All these Emmy nominations and Critics' Choice Awards nominations.
And wins,
exactly. So a lot of love for the first season. So I was just excited to come back and hope they could continue to build upon that momentum.
Definitely. Okay, let's talk about the themes. Of course, a huge one is family. This show's all about family.
A lot about family. I'd say biological family and chosen family.
Yes. So family is huge in this show. For one, it started out as a family business with Carmy's brother running the original Beef, cousin working there. And then, of course, season 1, Carmy comes back after his brother's death, takes over the family business, has to work with his sister, cousin, and then brings in new fresh blood as well. So it's literally combining both biological family and chosen family and becoming, one big mixed family.
Yeah, some dysfunction thrown in there as well.
Oh yeah, definitely
Some
dysfunction.
fighting, some anger. Classic, right?
Yes.
Just like a typical family. But I really liked how this season everyone pitched in, right?
Oh yeah.
Sugar, the sister, becomes the COO and is helping out. Cousin Fac comes in and is helping put things together, and then eventually is a part of front of the house. Like, I really liked how everyone was willing to jump in and help make this come to fruition, because it's hard. It's hard to change a restaurant, create
run
a
a restaurant,
business.
period.
It's
Yeah.
just a lot. So I really like seeing all hands on deck. And then when I think of the chosen family component, I really liked how they were taking care of their coworkers, how they sent the pastry chef all the way to Europe to train under a really great pastry chef. They sent some of their sous chefs to take classes so they knew what it was like to be classically trained. Cousin even got to train and learn what it's like to be in front of a house of like a Michelin star restaurant.
Got to clean some forks.
And now that episode was so good. And now he knows why that's important, right? We're serving the customer. So it was really nice that it's dysfunctional, it's messy, there's a lot going on, but at the end of the day, they're trying to like elevate and take care of everyone, right? Like promote from within, make sure everybody knew what it was like and to develop them. Because you rarely see that in companies these days, right? Like they don't care about training, they don't care about growth, they don't care about development. So it was honestly really exciting to see that and how they cared for everybody.
Yes, a business really investing quite literally in their employees. Don't see that much anymore. RIP. Yes, so we talked about the restaurant business is hard, and that's why we see this dysfunction, but we see how important it is, to really work as a family, work as a team, and to invest in each other. So we see that it's a high turnover trying to get new people. And in the finale, we see the guy from SNL. He's like smoking in the back, like doing drugs. We see that a lot of these restaurant workers, it's hard to find the right one. So we see that on the show. But they find a crew that has good chemistry. Of course, there was a lot of dysfunction in the last episode, but we do see that they end up pulling it off.
It comes together in the end. So yeah, I would say the restaurant business in general is a theme of the show.
Right.
And it's interesting. You see that while they're trying to start a new business this season, a lot of restaurants are shutting down. It's a depressed economy. It's hard out there. And so I thought that was interesting commentary that they are somehow trying to start a restaurant business in the midst of a tough time to be a restaurant.
Exactly. And I really liked the episode when Sydney was going around to all the different restaurants to get inspired and ideas for their new restaurant's menu. And it was sad to see because they show Sydney speaking to a fellow chef, this Black woman who Sydney really looks up to. And then later we see that restaurant closes down. So it just, restaurant business is really tough.
It's tough.
You really have to be resilient, and it's a lot of luck to make it happen.
And you have to want it, right? Everything going on, they had to get all these permits. Everything's going wrong as they're updating the space. Like they had to really want it to push through and make it work.
Exactly. Yes. Another big theme was renaissance, growth, as we talked about, rebirth, evolution, change, everything.
I think that was a central through line, the fact that they were turning the original beef into a fine dining Italian spot, right? That's like a weighty, lofty goal. So it was exciting to see that growth and evolution from the beginning when walls were falling down. They were trying to figure out why alarms weren't working, why they kept failing inspections, to then see how nice the spot is during the family and friends night at the end. It was amazing to see that growth, and you see that a lot goes into changing. You may want to grow, but are you going to put the work in? You may want to change, but you have to really take the time, be consistent, change habits. So I really liked seeing how the original beef becoming a fine dining spot was almost like an allegory for the entire show and for all the characters as well.
Oh yeah, because it was really cool. I loved how each member of the staff, got their own episode to highlight their personal stories and how they're growing this season. And with the opening of this new restaurant, I loved seeing them going to culinary school, traveling, and just learning all this stuff. I thought that was really great. And we saw how much everyone on the cast has grown this season. So I loved
Yeah.
seeing that.
And you also saw how they appreciated it. Like when Sydney asked Tina to be like a sous chef, Tina
Right.
looked
She was so
shocked and
excited.
so happy. And that's the benefit, right, of kind of training and elevating your staff, giving people
Oh yeah.
opportunities.
Right, because it just shows that if you just invest in people and give people a chance, they can do amazing things, right? So they just
Yes.
needed a push in the right direction.
Mhm.
And they're excelling. They're thriving.
Exactly.
They're doing
Same
amazing
with
things.
Cousin, right? Like most people would have given up on Cousin, but
Yeah.
Carmy was like,
Yeah.
no, that's my blood.
Yes.
I'm going to send him to this place because I care for him.
Mm.
And he learned so much. And there was that amazing guest starring role with Olivia Colman as the chef of the restaurant.
Yes.
And how she was talking to Cousin and the fact that he learned so much from her about just peeling mushrooms. So it would just be easier eating experience. And he's like, wow, like the head chef is taking the time to do something like that. It makes a big difference.
It does. So it was really cool seeing the growth on even someone like Cousin, who was a train wreck for 90% of the show. Yeah, another big theme was mental health. And we see that in the Christmas episode of Fishes that we're going to dive into in a minute. But clearly everyone in this family is going through a lot. Everyone is struggling. And that doesn't really get resolved. Like none of it gets resolved in the season. Carmy has a breakdown in the final episode.
Oh my god.
The mom
self-sabotage.
Yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis is going through a lot.
She had an opportunity to be there for her kids at the opening of the restaurant and decided not to go in and support.
Even though she was outside. Yeah, that was really, really tough. And of course, the brother who died, he had severe mental health issues. So I think that it just shows that mental health can really just burden so many people. And it's like at the crux of this family, and it's just hurt so much of their dynamic and thwarted them and prevented them from so much success. And it's just really sad.
It is really sad. And I think you also see it with Sydney and like other characters as well. Like she started to feel the pressure of like, whoa, we're making this restaurant. Carmy isn't the most helpful and can just not answer calls and cancel plans. And it's like, you're my business partner. Let's get it together. So you could tell she was feeling that stress. Her dad was like, is this the right thing for you? We also learned that her mom had died. So you see, everyone is dealing with things. And it was hard for her to juggle all that was going on. She was able to bounce back, but you could see everyone deals with it, right? Everyone has pressures. Everyone can be upset. So just coping with that and being able to push through and know how to handle what's going on around you. And you could see that she also had some moments.
Yeah, it was a theme for most of the cast, for sure. Okay, favorite moments.
Yes, chef. I'm ready.
Yes, chef. Before we get into our favorite moments, we have to talk about like a movie that reminds me of The Bear. So I saw the menu and our family also saw it.
I haven't seen
it. No
spoilers.
But every time they say, yes, chef, I think of the menu, and that movie is crazy. I recommend. It's kind of disturbing, but it's good.
And you recommend it?
Yes, chef. I can.
Favorite moments. Yes, back on track.
Moments. So tell me about Fishes, Shelby, the incredible TV Christmas episode.
Gosh.
Wow.
So this season, I liked how they did a lot of episodes on different characters, but then they had this throwback episode called Fishes, where it was maybe one of the craziest TV Christmas episodes I've ever seen that focused on Carmy coming home for Christmas with his family. His brother's still alive. His mom's there cooking. All the cousins are there. Richie, Neil Fack, and his brother, like everyone was there. And it was just giving prime dysfunction. And
wow, yeah.
It was just so chaotic. Like typically the show's chaotic, but the way this was filmed, everything going on,
stress,
the kitchen, people screaming, upset. I was like, what is happening?
Alarm
going off for all the food,
the timers.
It was crazy. And the guest stars were unreal. You had John Mulaney.
So many guest stars.
What's the girl from Community? What's her name?
Oh, Gillian Jacobs. She was Richie's
Sarah
wife.
Paulson.
Crazy Sarah Paulson.
Amazing guest stars.
Jamie Lee Curtis. My goodness.
Like, unbelievable. Bob Odenkirk. Like, the cast they had for the Christmas episode, unreal. Crazy. They all could win Emmys. But honestly, it was helpful backstory when you think about mental health, when you think about dysfunction, and also when you understand the dynamics. So you can see why Richie and his wife are now not together. You could see why Carmy didn't always come home. Like, you can now understand some of the complicated dynamics, like Sugar, the fact that her and her mom always butt heads and have problems. You could understand that more. And it was helpful context.
Yeah, I agree. And the scene where the brother was throwing forks was just rough.
At Bob Odenkirk because he didn't like his joke or whatever, or his story. It was,
oh my gosh,
scary. The intensity, like it felt like a bomb was going to go off. And the whole time I was so nervous. I was like, I feel someone's going to die. I feel like something bad's going to happen.
I know.
I literally thought Jamie Lee Curtis was going to kill herself. I was like, what is going on? And
I think the episode was so successful because you knew something bad was going to happen, but you didn't know what was going to happen.
Didn't know what.
And then when Jamie Lee Curtis drives a car through the house,
living room, unmatched.
Oh my gosh. Because you knew something was going to happen, but you did not think that was going to happen. That was crazy. And it's like, Gillian Jacobs' character, Richie's wife, is pregnant, and it's like, what if she drove the car into her? Like, no thought. Like, there was just everyone was literally in the room right next door. She could have easily run into that room. It was just so wild. But it was such good TV. Really good. And it was a long episode, right? It was like it was an hour. Yeah. But I was so into it. I was like, what's happening? All these people, the dynamics. It was great. Yeah, it was a great episode. So messy. Yeah. It kept you on the edge of your toes the whole time. You're like, what's happening? Truly. You didn't know what was happening. You didn't know how it was going to end. It was great.
I'd say another one of my favorite moments was Richie's Evolution. So cousin Richie, typically really awful guy.
Yeah, season one
could not
stand him. He was awful.
Literally, I hate to hate. And then you see him come around during the Forks episode where he has to wake up early, go work at this Michelin star restaurant for a week or a few weeks and just learn what it's like to be front of house, to be at a really good restaurant. And then the fact that he was able to bring what he learned to their new family restaurant, like that made my heart feel so good. And obviously, he's going through a divorce. His ex-wife is getting remarried. Like, you can tell he has a lot of issues, a lot going on. Yeah. But he was able to find happiness and joy for these few weeks when he was at that restaurant. And so I really liked seeing him come to life and evolve.
Yeah, he had the best story arc for me this season.
Agreed.
And now he likes wearing suits. And everyone, when they're like,
Richie, what are you doing? Cousin,
why are you in a suit? And he was like, I wear suits now. And
iconic.
Like, oh, okay. Yeah, okay,
Mr. Suit Man. We love to see it.
We love to see it. Yeah, I loved his story arc this season, the growth.
So good.
And what other favorite moments did you have?
I also liked, we love a callback, right? We love a full circle moment. So in the last episode, or the second to last, when they're getting ready to open the restaurant, Carmi gives Sydney a new chef's coat with her initials. So sweet, because when they were testing out different recipes at his apartment, she saw he had a chef's coat with his initials, and she was like,
Right.
wow, that's so cool. And Carmi was like, but he remembered, and then he gave her that as a gift when they're opening the restaurant. And I was like, oh, so sweet.
That was sweet.
Okay,
that
business partners. Okay, chefs. Love to see it.
We love to see it.
Yeah,
They have an interesting relationship, but I do think that was a nice gesture from Carmi for sure. And I did really like the Family and Friends episode, the finale.
Oh, it was really good.
It was chaotic, and it kind of had like a bittersweet ending. Like it wasn't a happy ending.
No, it wasn't.
Because, oh my gosh, basically they get behind on orders, and then one of the worst possible things happens. Carmi gets stuck in the fridge.
My least favorite moment. That was so bad.
That was so
of all the
bad.
times he gets stuck in the fridge.
They've been like, you gotta call the fridge guy, you gotta call the fridge guy. But as we'll talk about, he's distracted with his relationship, like his focus is elsewhere, so he never calls the fridge guy. And he is having a literal mental breakdown.
Literally.
It was insane, but it was cool to be like, okay, Carmi's in the fridge. This is one of the worst things that could happen. We just gotta keep moving. We gotta keep moving.
I agree. It was nice to see everyone come together.
Yeah,
during that intense moment.
Pull it out. Yes. Very intense. Very intense. Okay, we said one of your least favorite moments was when Carmi gets locked in the fridge.
It was bad.
What else? What else did you?
The only other thing I'll say about that is when Carmi decided to self-sabotage his relationship, and when he's in the fridge and he thinks he's talking to Tina still, he basically says, maybe I shouldn't be with Claire, which has been like the best thing to happen to him and give him joy the last few months. His like friend from high school that always had a crush on him. Right. And like he hadn't listened to the voicemail she had sent him after the fight. He listens to it and she says, I love you. And I'm just like, Carmi, it's too much.
Too much. Bad.
So bad. So that all of that was just cringe and my least favorite moment.
Yes, chef. I agree. That was rough. That was rough. Yeah, the self-sabotage on this show. These people don't want anything good for themselves. It's really bad. It's really bad.
They know.
Yeah. And there were also a lot of renovation issues.
Yes.
That somehow they pulled it off. They opened the restaurant on time. I don't know how, but it seemed like there are so many issues going on. So many issues with the walls and the licensing, everything.
Literally. Shocking. But, they pulled it through. Off. And that's what matters. And that's what matters.
Okay.
On to our categories.
Who or what did you love to hate?
I think Carmi, right? He's a complicated protagonist. Amazing acting job. Like, he has to do a lot in that role. I think he could win the Emmy, but he's so good, but a complicated guy, self-sabotaging his relationship with Claire, but also not always being the best boss or partner. And I'm like, my guy, I know you have a lot going on. You're juggling a lot, but something either has to give, or because things are falling through the cracks, right? You're not calling the fridge guy. Like, he just has a lot happening. And I think he is a good lead, and I think he's trying to do his best in the midst of dysfunction and mental health issues. So I'm rooting for him, but he does do things like blowing Sydney off and then sabotaging his relationship with Claire. Then I'm like, come on, my guy. What are you doing?
Know. You put him in love to hate. I think I might hate to hate Carmi. He's just like, he's hard to root for.
Oh no.
He's really hard to root for. He self-sabotages. He like pushes everyone who's close to him away. I think he's trying to do good things, but that's not enough for it. It's just he does too many bad things. It's hard to root for him. Yeah, and clearly he's just struggling with a lot. He
is.
Yeah.
He is.
Maybe I think honorable mention to Richie, to love to hate.
Wow.
Because I think he had the best story arc. I feel
He
like did
did.
Carmi grow this season? I think he's in the same place as last year. Yes, he's been working hard and he was able to pull this off, but it's like it felt like he was slacking the whole season. Everyone had to, make up for what he was lacking.
That's fair. I initially put Richie in hate to hate, but I agree his growth might move him to love to hate. It's just when he's bad, he's really bad, right?
I
like
agree.
When Richie is mean and unhappy, he like lashes out on everyone. So I feel like his bad is worse than Carmi's bad. So that's I'm like,
I agree.
I don't know if I can move him to love to hate yet, but he's trending.
Yes.
Because of his growth.
That is fair. That's fair. Okay. So Richie's in your hate to hate. Who else is in your hate to hate?
The rest of their family.
Everyone else.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oof.
So dysfunctional. She was like drinking and smoking during Christmas, yelling at everyone.
So sabotage.
And then doesn't support her kids in this big night and sees her daughter's husband and tells him, do not tell them I was here. I can't go in. Clearly something's going on, but I'm like, come on, Jamie Lee.
She's
great
really
acting
struggling.
job, but awful to your kids. And then the brother, played by John Bernthal, Michael, I think he was rough. That fork throwing scene, too much. Kind of picking on Carmi, like, oh, you and Claire, da da da. Like, it was just too much.
Yeah, I agree.
And then lastly, Cicero, who's like the uncle who helps them, right? Like, he gives them money. So I'm like, I like that about him, but he's kind of annoying.
Yeah, he's not a nice
You don't really trust him, right? Like, he gives me like the skeevies. I'm like, I don't really like you.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so we both love to love Sydney, played by Ayo Edebiri. She's great.
Love her, big fan. I think we said at the beginning, the show has a lot of up and comers. I think Ayo is like the biggest trending star from this show.
Oh, for sure. She's popping up in a lot of different content.
Trending star.
Yeah.
And I love that for her. Very exciting. Like, we saw her as a guest star on Abbott Elementary this season.
Yes.
She's crushing it.
But yeah, Neil Fack, who's a real life chef, he's great on the show. Lots of comic relief. And he seems to be kind of like
Matheson. He's so funny.
And he seems to be like a happy-go-lucky kind of guy, giving golden retriever energy. Just happy to be there, providing good vibes.
Happy to be there.
And like actually helping and doing things around the restaurant. Yeah, he's great.
Happy to be there.
And I'll also throw in Sugar and her husband.
Oh,
I think
Sugar.
They're good characters. And I think Sugar and both her husband are too kind of pure for their own good.
Yeah.
You could tell that Sugar really wants to help her mom. And she was like, Mom, are you okay? And everyone's like, why'd you say that? Don't say that. And then the mom has like a breakdown. It's just like.
But you could tell she was not trying to be mean.
No, she was just trying to be helpful. So
poor thing.
I know, I feel bad for those two. And then her husband, who's just so sweet, so kind.
Got destroyed during the Christmas episode.
I know. He brought
Why'd you bring the tuna casserole?
It's like, now there's 8 fish. There's 8 fish. Yeah.
And they literally threw the tuna casserole outside. I was like, I can't.
That was so rough.
So and then rough.
Jamie Lee coming up to Sugar's husband being like, don't tell them. It's like he was put in like the worst position ever.
He looks so sad.
I know.
Oh my god.
That was rough.
You're right. They're like the most genuine, nice, pure people on the show.
I know.
They don't fit.
They do not. So I like them. They're in a bad situation with this family.
Tough situation. Ugh.
Tough. Okay. Red flag, green flag. 1, 2, 3. Okay, Shelby.
Yes, chef.
Is it a red flag to get into a relationship when you're super busy with your job?
Oof. I want to say no, because most people work, most people have jobs, there can be busy seasons. So you can understand why, you might be busy or things fall through the cracks, but you definitely need to be clear up front. Like, are you saying, hey, I'm like in a busy season of my life, I can't devote time to you? like, okay, at least I know up front. Maybe we should just date right now, or let's check back in a few months. I think it depends how you handle this situation. Like if you dive headfirst and then all of a sudden start ghosting the person because you're so busy with your job, that's a red flag. But if you are honest and communicate and are open, I think it's okay. I just think so many people get busy these days with whether it's your job or a side hustle. Like, I think it's hard to judge and say red flag. But I think if you're not communicating about being busy with your job, then it could be a red flag.
Right. I think I'm gonna push back a little bit.
Ooh.
I think it is.
Push back.
I think it is a red flag. Obviously, yes, everyone's busy. But if you don't have the time to devote to someone, why are you wasting people's time? Like, Carmi clearly did not have the time for a relationship. And yes, Claire made him happy and everything, but he's opening a brand new restaurant. You got to be realistic, because he wasn't devoting enough time to Claire, and he wasn't devoting enough time to the restaurant. So he was sabotaging both things. He wasn't there for Claire, and he wasn't there for the restaurant. So I think he's just hurting himself and other people by not having enough time for both of these things.
I think because I think he was overwhelmed and shocked, right, to see Claire again and that she was even interested. But I think what he should have done was like, hey, it's really busy right now. I probably can't see you as often as like I'd want to. Like, I think that would have solved it, you know? Like, I don't think he'd have to be like, no, I can't be in a relationship with you. Being clear, like, this is a busy season in my life. I'm so glad we've reconnected. Like, amazing. Such a small world. Crazy.
But put on pause.
Or like, let's have genuine expectations about what this will be right now.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's different. Like, starting a new relationship is so much about like time and effort, and just being like, hey, like this season I can't commit to this right now, but maybe like once the restaurant, I don't know. I just think it's unfair
because you don't want him to like lose out on this opportunity, you know?
Right.
So that's why it's weird.
Right. So I think yes, shades of red. I think it is a bit of a red flag, because it's like, you don't have enough time, don't waste my time, and you're also wasting your time because
you're big on don't waste my time.
Yeah, no, it's true. But I do see what you're saying. It's all about communication at the end of the day.
Okay, Laura, I have a question for you. Is it a green flag to start a business with your family like Carmi did with this restaurant?
I think it's shades of green.
Oh,
it could also be shades of red, but I think that obviously it really depends on your family dynamic. Clearly, Carmi and his family have a very dysfunctional relationship. So if your family is not, if you don't work well with your family, don't start a business together.
Facts.
Right? But if you do have a good relationship with your family, I mean, Shelby and I, we started this business, Sisters Who Watch LLC.
Woo!
Check us out on LinkedIn. And it's going very well. So you just need to know your relationships and your dynamics. But somehow they pulled off the Bear family and friends night. Do I think it's a healthy relationship? I don't know. We'll see. But I think it's shades of green. It could be bad. It can be good. It just really depends.
I'm aligned. It can depend. Do I think they probably should have had this as a family business? Probably not, given the Fishes episode and those dynamics.
Yeah.
But they're making it work.
They're making it happen.
And Richie's growing. Neil Fax helping out. Sugar's plugged in. So let's see.
Let's see. Exactly. Okay, Shelby, is The Bear season 2 a wait or a watch?
Watch. Very high quality television. Love season 1. I think season 2 got better, which is crazy.
It did.
But I think the quality is even better. The storylines, they're able to show more growth for certain characters. Or destruction in Carmi's case. To your point, I don't think he grew. No. But I love how they were able to devote more time. We got more backstory. We got to learn more. Big watch on this.
I agree. I will say, I think the season started a little slow for me. I think we both watched the first episode and then we
you're right.
Didn't watch for a little bit. But I would say the second half really picked up.
It flew.
Like, Fishes, Forks, those episodes in the finale were really good. So
ended strong.
Yes, it ended really strong. So, but I do recommend. It's a really good show, especially if you love food and restaurants. Highly recommend.
Yes, it's on Hulu right now. You can binge it. Take your time with it.
Yeah, go check it out.
Love the options.
Okay, what is our what to watch?
Well, hopefully The Bear season 3. Have
Oh, I'd
not
be
heard
shocked.
about a renewal, but I would be shocked.
Right?
Like, this is a buzzy show.
For
So I hope
sure.
it gets renewed. I'd also say some movies with Ayo Edebiri coming out.
Hey.
Theater Camp, which also has Molly Gordon, who plays Claire. Molly Gordon stars in it and I think wrote and directed it as well.
Oh.
Apparently, Ayo is heavily promoted in the trailer, but isn't that big in the movie.
Got it.
Classic,
Interesting.
trying to like
Yeah.
entice people to come. But apparently, it's funny. And then there's a new movie coming out called Bottoms that Ayo's in and has a bigger role.
Yes.
So.
Yes. That's the one I was thinking about. Okay.
Mhm.
Great. So, and plus we love cooking shows.
Yes,
We
Food
love the Food
Network's your
Network.
friend.
So we'll definitely be checking all those out.
Yes.
So yes, those are great recs. We're excited about season 3. We'd be shocked if there
Mhm.
wasn't one.
Fingers
But thank you
crossed.
everyone for listening. We hope you enjoyed this
Yes,
episode.
thank you.
Follow us on all social medias at Sisters Who Watch, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter,
X.
now X, question mark,
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, Instagram, everything. And
Follow,
please leave us
subscribe,
5 stars on Apple
leave us a
Podcasts and
review.
Spotify.
We appreciate the support, y'all.
It means a lot.
Bye.
Thank you.